Hey guys, it's Cherik. Welcome to week 2 of online remote instruction. I hope you guys are all doing okay. I really miss seeing your faces. I wanted to take a few minutes to actually just talk us through the week here. So, starting on Monday, the one thing that we have due tonight at midnight is that you need to identify the common central idea between the telltale heart and the complexity of fear. So that is on Google Classroom. And 21 of you guys have already done that, which is more than half. So yay, keep it up. I'm responding to those in Google Classroom. And I put it on there as 10 points. So you got it, great. If you need to go back and maybe switch things around a little bit, I'll give you some hints for that. So make sure you go back and look at that feedback. Next, we need to read over the ways that authors develop a central idea and begin pre-writing for your summative assessment, which we've been talking about. So this is the part where normally I would have you guys brainstorming this, working in groups, coming to your own conclusions, but that's a little difficult for us to do. So Mr. Rainey and Ms. Day and I developed this document here. Which is methods used to create a central idea. So again, since we're looking at a fiction piece and a nonfiction piece, authors are doing this in different ways. So here are some examples that you can look at. In terms of fiction, obviously things like tone, characterization, how the characters are developed, if it's directly or indirectly, building suspense, foreshadowing, illusions, personification, imagery, figurative language. We can look at like metaphors, all those type of things, as opposed to somebody who is doing nonfiction and building that same central idea, that same takeaway and theme. They would be using things like anecdotes, right? Brief stories. They could still use figurative language, but they would probably rely more on things like statistics or evidence from studies, or giving evidence from an expert or another person, and maybe they do some exaggeration or some repetition to build that theme. They also, again, in either case, you could use diction, the individual word choice. That's always something that you guys have written about very eloquently. Next up, after that, and again, this is posted on Classroom, so you should be able to refer back to that, but let's just talk about the summative essay because that's what we're going to be doing the rest of this week. For our central idea, I have both of them linked right here. FCA 1, you identify correctly the shared central idea as your claim. That should totally get checked off as long as you take my feedback and run with it, which, everybody should get feedback by tomorrow unless they didn't fill out that form. So make sure you get on that. FCA number 2, notice we have 2 ways each author develops the central idea pointed out with solid reasoning. So if you notice, since we have 2 ways, and of course, with every essay, we have an introduction and a conclusion, I'm looking for a 4-paragraph essay here. For each of those pieces, you need to find 2 ways and look back to those methods you create. If you want to come up with your own, I always challenge you to do that. But you can use some of these things that I know that we've talked about in class that should be able to help you out. Next up, transitions are used effectively in each paragraph. So you guys are wonderful at using transitions, and you guys did great on the transition quiz last week. So, but this is linked where we have a list of transitions and how we use them intentionally. So if you're adding on versus if you're, or you're going in sequential order, or if you're kind of going to show contrast, which I think you're going to do between a fiction and a nonfiction article. I think you're going to be using contrast and say when you're transitioning from one to the other. Yeah, so again, 4-paragraph essay. So starting by building background, hitting you with that thesis statement about how those authors do that, making sure you're using purposeful transitions, and telling me, and then the other thing I did want to say is that after you introduce each story and each author, once you do that, you may refer to those people by their last names. So you would refer to just Poe and then Lamia. Then, of course, since these are both short pieces, how do we punctuate them? All right. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are going to do well on this. Pay attention to my office hours. Wednesday and Friday, 10 to 11, and then Tuesday and Thursday, noon to 2. Also, I'm available via Google Chat. So on Thursday, we are going to attempt to do a Google Chat live from noon to 12:30, so you guys can ask last minute questions about the summative before it's due. So if you have any questions, it might be really useful to ask those questions like in front of the whole class. So I'm going to add everybody to a chat room so that we're able to directly ask questions and everybody can see the answers I give. All right, I hope you guys are doing great. Bye.